Welcome everyone. Adam the Woo here. As the recording of this, it is Thursday, January 5th, 2023. I am wearing an appropriate t-shirt because I am still in Key West doing a lot of things. Today, I will be venturing into a museum that hosts and holds, dare I say, the world's most haunted doll. Robert the doll, named after a guy named Robert. In fact, it sits right inside this building right here. You can see the airport right behind. There is a helicopter going by. If you've ever seen the movie Child's Play, Chucky loosely was based on Robert the doll. Shrouded in mystery and stories, Robert the doll, I was able to see him 10 years ago or so. Very, very briefly. I've returned. I'm daring to go in. I'm heading in. Heading in the museum. It's kind of interesting because when you go in there, you have to ask Robert, so they say, you have to ask Robert permission to take photos and film him, or a ghost will follow you home. More or less. More info when I get in there. Join me. Shall you? This is known as the East Martello Museum. Circa 1862 is on the National Registry. It's a historical site and it is open each and every day for anyone who would like to say hello to Robert. It's a little placard right here. Part of the East Martello Fort restoration made possible financial support of Monroe County. And take a look down here. Here is Robert on the little walkway in. They embrace Robert here. And there's a conch shell. And the prices to go in, obviously there's going to be a lot more in here than just Robert. But adult, $16. And they go down from there depending on seniors, youth, etc., etc. I'm going in. I have now made it indoors, and here's a water skier made out of, looks like automobile parts right here. You got the ski down here. This is a Doughboy, as according to that. Molina's Bakery, which at the sign here and everything too. And the side of this old fort has the fire pit there, and then it shows the art of baking Cuban bread and all that. If you go over here, they have quite a bit of merchandise, which will kind of go on the way out for Robert himself. And it's, if anything happens, just blame it on Robert. That's kind of the moral of the story. Right there's a close-up version. I'm going to get really up close and personal, but I have to go through this little like canopy first, go through the curtain here. Kind of interesting here. Here is a look at Duval Street back in 1865. Some older photographs and history of the fort and the area as well. Through here, you can even see items. Oh, I already see Robert down there. I don't know what that noise was. At first I was kind of like, what is that creepy noise? But it's this fan. And speaking of dollhouse, there's a dollhouse right there too. Very interesting with the sound of the fans really kind of adds to the ambiance quite a bit. This like creepy old piano right here. Real quick, like I just stepped outside here into the inner portion of the fort itself. There's like almost like a little dollhouse over there too, like in the middle of this. And then the airport's just right over there. I don't know if the ceiling fan deters from the creepiness of it or kind of adds to the creepy sound of it as well, but I'm gonna say kind of adds to it. Hypnotizing also. It's also kind of interesting that the traffic just goes right outside the window here by the water. Traffic. Whoop, and a trolley. Also going by, probably telling the lore of Robert the doll. There's a lot of information in here as well on the wall about Robert. Robert is a one-of-a-kind handmade doll created at the turn of the 20th century, standing 40 inches tall, stuffed with wood wool known as Excelsior. He is dressed in a sailor suit and once wore painted features not unlike those of a jester. His unusual size indicates he may have been fashioned in the image of his constant companion, a boy named Robert Eugene Otto. The doll took Robert as his name, and the boy simply went by Gene. Together, they would go on to make history. Robert the doll and the Otto family used to be at a place that's still here in town called the Artist House. It's a bed and breakfast. I'm going to go by there. It's located at 534 Eaton Street, constructed at the end of the 19th century by Eugene Otto's grandfather. They were on the top floor. According to this, they were on the very, very top floor. When Gene's father died, the family and Gene and Anne inherited the house, spent many years living and working out of the grand house on Eaton Street. When Gene passed on and Anne opted to move out of the house into the state of Massachusetts. So Robert ended up here in this museum. Anne loathed the doll and refused to take it with her. So Robert remained in the attic of the Otto house under supervision of the new owners. For a few years, they decided that in 1994 was donated Robert to the Key West Art and Historical Society. And then later on, the museum staff, after they had stored Robert at the Fort, they stored Robert at the Fort East Martello Museum. Although he was not initially on display, there was a noticeable shift in energies at the fort here where I'm standing once Robert arrived. On October 11th of 2005, President George W. Bush wrote a letter to Mr. Robert Otto. It says, "Dear Mr. Otto, happy 101st birthday. Laura and I send your best wishes on this joyous occasion. Your generation has taught Americans timeless lessons of courage, endurance, and love. May God bless you, and may God continue to bless America." Signed, George W. Bush. And then going on from there, there's also a letter from Jeb Bush, who at the time was the governor of Florida. It says, whereas on October 23rd of that year, 2005, celebrating his 101st birthday. So Jeb also congratulate. Going back to Gene when he was younger, Robert Gene, Gene would shift blame when he misbehaved upon the doll, saying, "I didn't do it, Robert did it." Robert frequently sat on the third store window and gazed out at the children and others on the street. Some passerbyers said his expression would change. A plumber working at the house once I'm reading this off the what it states here. A plumber working at the house once reported that he heard giggling in the room, and we investigated, found only Robert in a different position than he had seen him in earlier. The doll remained in the house after Jean was married and continued to take the blame for Jean's wrongdoings. That's interesting. Stories of the doll's strange behavior from people who encountered him became more commonplace after Jean's death in 1974. Tenants heard footsteps in the attic above them, while Solaris Hills reporter Malcolm Ross visited Robert and said, "It was like a metal bar running down my back. At first, when he walked through the door, the look on his face like a little boy being punished. It was as if he was asking himself, 'Who are these people in my room, and what are they going to do to me?' Other visitors to the house claimed to hear unexpected giggling noises, also emanating from the room where Robert was stored. Stories also circulated suggesting the doll moved himself around the room. There was kind of an intelligence there. The doll was listening." Okay, I'm now walking around in the courtyard. Spent enough time with Robert in there. But yeah, this is also, as stated, this is also a dollhouse here. You can see even a couple other dolls in here. Edna Walkowski's also had some dolls. Obviously not as gone on to tell the tale like Robert has. Robert has become quite a storyline and quite a notable figure, not only here in Key West, but all across the world. It feels like, you know, with a lot of urban legends and things like that, they just continue to get bigger and bigger with, you know, over time. But Robert is right inside that door, right over in the little corner over there. I also asked his permission when I first walked up. Mentally. I didn't do it out loud. I don't know, maybe I should have said it verbally out loud. Asked mentally, I said. I feel like he gave me a little nod. In fact, to be more technical, he's in case mate number 5. Trivia. We are not joking. Be nice, be respectful, and ask before taking a photo. I think that should be asked for pretty much everything. You should ask everything before you take a photo. And as you exit out, there is quite a bit of merchandise. I say exit to the gift shop, but there is a gift shop and other assorted things as well. Local stuff, local lore of the area and history, but also a lot of Robert the Doll merchandise, which I don't know if I'm going to get the actual straight up doll itself. I don't know if I want, I mean, he's going to follow me home anyway, mentally, but I don't know if I want to have, like, I don't know, maybe I could, but I think I'm going to pass on the Robert the Doll miniature, even though it is pretty neat. $40 for that, but I think I'm going to go with some other options, but there's a lot of Robert the Doll merchandise in here, which is, I mean, it does make sense. It's probably the most popular attraction in this museum. People from all over the world, all over the country and all over the world stop in here to pay Robert his respect, his due respects and his little homage to Robert. And I was no exception. I did the same. Even though I did not get a representation, a smaller version of the real Robert the Doll, I have him pressed in ink here on the side of this little tote bag, and I got this from my refrigerator. So anytime I do anything wrong or if something goes wrong, I can just say Robert did it. Robert did it, it wasn't me. It was the doll. It was very sunny today. So I got my magnet in here, got my bag. Robert did it. I think now, I'm gonna go by the house. I'm gonna go look in that 3rd story window. I don't know if I can get up there. I wonder if anyone stays in there. Maybe. It is, look, I have my sunglasses, the sun is reflecting. Go over here in the shadows. On the way out, since I exited through the gift shop twice, went back in the courtyard and whatnot, but I went back through and couldn't help myself. I went ahead and purchased this figure, get a little bit more info here. The true biography of Key West's haunted doll. I get a little more info on this as I drive over to the 3rd floor window of the house where the family lived. All right, heading on. Just kind of browsing through this book real quick. Check this out. Young Eugene Otto here, sporting the now iconic sailor suit that Robert the Doll was fashioned after. He was fashioned after the outfit that young Eugene Otto used to wear. Wow. Also inside the museum, the doll didn't look too terrifying, but look at that is, yeah, I don't know. That would ooh, okay. That's not an angle that makes him look cute. David Sloan is the author of this book. And I'm kind of reading here that is a lesser known Robert residence, so I'm gonna go over here afterwards too, before it was moved to the museum from the 3rd story window. It would sit on this porch for quite some time. So I'm gonna head over there, check that out as well. Finding a parking spot down here for just a brief time is kind of difficult, but I'm now here on the cross streets of Eaton Street and Simonton. Simonton Street? Simonton Street. But Eaton Street is where the artist house is, where Robert the Doll used to live on the 3rd floor, right over here. So there's the, which would be the balcony. So you got 2 stories. You got 1 story here, 2 story here, and then that is where Robert called home for many, many years. And I passed by this a couple times when I was trying to find parking. It said no vacancy. So you see right here where it says no vacancy. So evidently it's, I don't know, maybe it's apartments. Maybe you can't rent it as like an Airbnb. I could go in and ask maybe if they rent off the, oh, here we go. Here's a little brochure here. Circa 1898, this enchanted guest house offers charm, character. Once a home to the Otto family, the artist house has been converted into Charm Inn. Guests can indulge in a complimentary breakfast, happy hour, etc., etc., etc. Dip in a pool. Kind of neat though, they still have the little attic area up top. I'm gonna go in and ask to see if they rent that out. It'd be kind of neat to stay up there. I'm not gonna be able to do it on this trip, but at some point it'd be kind of neat to rent that out up top. Located here at 534 as stated in the book and at the museum and all that. Go up and inquire in. I think I will walk up the stairs and look at the other room.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, cool.
It's the one directly above that, so there's only 3 rooms in the middle.
Oh, there's just 3 rooms, so there's this one, the one above it, and then the one that's on the 3rd floor?
So there's 7 rooms total, but the ones that are vacant are that one and the room directly above it, which is just the middle floor and stairs.
Okay, awesome. Alright, there are 7 rooms in here, and 2 of them are vacant, so the receptionist said I could go look at both the open rooms. I cannot go up to the top floor on the 3rd floor, but she said I could look around. And, in fact, okay, that door's shut, so I'm not going to look in there. However, so this would be where Robert would have been, right here. Right up there. Oh my gosh, so someone's staying there now. But she said that sometimes it's open and you can rent it out to stay there, so might have to do a stay there one day. So this is the stairwell where Robert would have been placed in the attic, hidden from all. Robert contemplating to himself, looking out the window at all the passerbyers, so they could say he was changing his faces, smiling at them, nodding at them, etc. Wow. Okay. Pretty eerie. I did not think that they were going to allow me to walk around in there. That's awesome. So it's like a little Airbnb type of deal right here. So as the story goes, you know, traffic and people would go by and Robert would smile at them, nod their head at them, change facial expressions, according to the legends anyway. Of course, Robert was up on the 3rd floor, which at the time was an attic, but now it is part of the Airbnb. I'm sure it's probably sold out pretty often. It's always fun to stay in places like that. And I think I'm gonna have to remember next time I'm in Key West to do that, because I just love the story of Robert the Doll and all that kind of urban legend stuff. Okay, let's just imagine for a second. So up top, the shades would have been open. You could have the doll up there looking out. So anybody that would have been walking, riding a bike, you know, any kind of vehicle going past here could have seen that eerie doll up there, that legendary doll, peering down at them. You know, some say, the world's most haunted doll. Arguably, one of the world's most haunted dolls lived right up there. And I'm gonna go by the other spot I found in that book, which I didn't know about until I saw the book that I bought at the store. The car just pulled up and almost went up on the curb. So I wonder which window it would have been. The middle window? Probably, I'm gonna guess probably that one. The hat kind of obscures the window there. There you go. Say hello to Robert. Well, he's not up there anymore, he's in the museum. Now again, just going off what I saw in the book here, at 1722A Von Thiester Street, Key West Myrtle would sit Robert on the porch. It was his home from 1980 to 1994. You believe in the power of Robert the Doll, don't you, Bigfoot? I think you do. He believes. The house was right over here. This is the house where that white car is. Right on that porch, right up there. Pretty wild. Right back in there. Well, that's the side yard anyway. Okay. I have found the Otto plot, family plot, right over here. Figured while I was in this area, I should probably search this as well. I don't know if I could walk in here. Can I walk in here? Oh yeah. So you got the wife of Dr. Joseph Otto. Julius Otto. And of course, the inspiration for the name of Robert the Doll, also laid here. Robert Eugene Otto. Passed away in 1974. Okay, that's interesting because the letters that were at the museum were dated. I have to go back and watch it. I think they were dated that he lived to be 101. Where Robert Eugene was 74. Okay, I got to go back and look at the photos I took of the little placards I was reading off. Beloved pet of Jean and Anne Otto. Sonny Otto, beloved Yorkshire Terrier of Jean and Anne Otto. Looking back at the photo I have, this is from President Bush here, George W. So this was dated on October 11th of 2005, stating that Robert Otto was celebrating his 101st birthday on October 11th. So remember that date, October 11th. And then 12 days later, on October 23rd, this certificate was given by Jeb Bush in honor of Mr. Robert Otto on his 101st birthday, October 23rd. Except he only lived to be in his 70s. And nowhere on here does it have October 11th or 23rd. It states October 25th, which wouldn't make sense because, well, no, it wouldn't, because 1900, 101 years would be 2001, if my math is correct. Which would not have been 2005. Huh. Something's not lining up here, or maybe I'm just not understanding it. And then my next thought would be maybe his father lived to be 101, but his father, who was born in 1865, passed on in 1917. Father of Mispa, Joseph, Osgood, and Eugene, also known as Robert Eugene. So it would not be for his dad. So this is the family plot. So let me just look at some of the other Ottos. So we have Thomas Osgood Otto II, so it possibly could be the third of the Ottos, but born in 1897 and in 62, which is not 100 years. Huh. I am very, very confused. Another mystery for Robert the Doll. And that's going to do it for today. From Key West, Florida. The legend, the urban legend, the mystery, the unusual circumstances regarding Robert the Doll. We'll buy a couple of the houses, we'll buy the artist's house, and then ended here in utter confusion of, yeah, I don't understand the 101 birthday thing. Or possibly they're just honoring Robert Otto, even though he had passed on what would have been his 101st birthday by the president and the then governor. See you in the next video. The vlog is over.